You're listening to 17 Carat K-Pop. For more information about the variety of topics covered on the show, as well as my other podcast, How to Stan, visit 17caratkpop.weebly.com. And if you enjoy this episode, please consider becoming a monthly donor to support my work and allow it to continue to go on and be free for all to access for as low as 99 cents a month. Visit the Support the Show link on my site's homepage for more information. Hello everybody and welcome back to 17 Carat K-Pop and the regular occurring segment on this show, Stay Tuned. The music and tech industries, the live concert scene, music, fandom, and overall entertainment industry stories that may not be as overtly related to K-pop or a certain K-pop act, but have implications for the K-pop world nevertheless. 3 big categories of stories to get to today. Let's start with topic 1, tech stories. This summer marks a new chapter for SiriusXM Radio, because this summer SiriusXM is premiering a TikTok-themed radio station. This will be a channel for all of the songs that are going viral on TikTok. The official statement describing the channel says it's, quote, a full-time music channel featuring the trending sounds that are redefining pop culture from TikTok. It's essentially a radio version of the For You page, and you can stream it just like you would listen to any other SiriusXM radio station. It sounds like they want to frame this as a TRL type of thing in a way, where they want to give a behind-the-scenes look at famous TikTokers, because the songs will come with behind-the-scenes stories and commentary in place of talk radio segments. There will also be a weekly music countdown. As weird as this concept might sound at first, it's honestly not a bad idea because so many viral videos and songs make me want to know that behind-the-scenes story. Social media, in some ways, is ironically also the most unfiltered thing ever because we're getting the behind-the-scenes we would never see from people. There's less of a protectiveness around the PR image of celebs because they have more freedom to show the real them. And this is an interesting platform to do that because I usually want to hear the stories. Because I am curious about why a sound went viral, where the viral video challenge came from. However, I will take issue with this idea if they don't give proper credit, and I think it will have a lot to do with their audience and who they're targeting and why. Because if they want to focus just on people who are online for the fun and the music, often younger people, then they'll probably keep it a Gen Z station featuring just the music and maybe a few minutes of commentary here and there, but for the most part music. If they're looking to expand the appeal overall for all ages, all audiences towards TikTok, change their view of the platform, and see the value in music thriving from TikTok. If they don't have a long-term objective of a sense of public legitimacy and acceptance of TikTok as a more mainstream go-to source of music, then there might be more storytelling, more commentary segments, because I do find that interesting, but I don't know how much of Gen Z does. I'm kind of on the Gen Z millennial cusp, so that's why I don't always relate to either generation. And so I'm curious who they're targeting and why. My guess is the former, not the latter. Just a Gen Z radio station, essentially. But I would love if it was more than that and there was a lot of time spent talking and sharing stories. Speaking of normalizing new trends for the long term, Coinbase is hoping to launch a cryptocurrency-based media operation. So whether you like it or not, whether you're sick of hearing about them or not, NFTs, cryptocurrencies, are going to continue to be quite the talking point for a long time to come. According to Axios reporting, Coinbase is currently working to hire around 30 employees to run a media company, making content for the metaverse. Their long-term goal is reported to be keeping interest up and keeping investors interested. I've got to change something up to keep people thinking this is a long-term trend. Now, this is still a plan in the very early stages, so they haven't even settled on a content and editorial VP to run this program yet, which is very indicative of them being not fully ready by any means to make this official. But the people in charge of these cryptocurrencies are still very confident in their ability to be super bold and pull things off. I mean, Blockworks predicted the revenue for 2021 is going to be like $8 to $10 million, and not like breaking even. They expect to make a profit. Now, it is way too soon to tell if Coinbase is going to gain traction here, because on the stock market, they only just went public in April of this year, but this is quite an ambitious undertaking. It does follow a pattern. This isn't out of the blue. Actually, a lot of product-based companies in recent years have been buying and starting their own media operations to provide another source of revenue. Diversifying revenue sources is pretty much a mission of people in the world of economics, no matter what sector you're in these days. It's all about not having financial stability, too many eggs of that in one basket. The NFT craze is further combining with this need to provide media streaming content, with Dan Harmon, the creator of Rick and Morty, working on a new animated series for Fox, but officially for the blockchain. That's right, an NFT TV show called Krapopolis, and I will keep you posted when more info comes out. For more information about what NFTs are and what you need to know about them, listen to previous episodes of Stay Tuned, both for context for this episode and for future discussions on Stay Tuned we will surely have about NFTs, which are really a global phenomenon now. The first NFT marketplace in Korea has launched very successfully as a place to auction off, to buy and sell NFTs. By early March of this year, around 100,000 NFTs had been sold in this marketplace. The total amount sold is around 200 billion won. This is equal to around $179.9 million, nearly $180 million USD. One Korean artist's work actually sold as an NFT, one piece of art from this artist, for around $600,000 in cryptocurrency. In more financial news, Warner Music Group, aka WMG, is entering a new strategic partnership with Wave, a live stream / virtual event focused company. And this new partnership means that WMG has a minority stake in Wave, meaning that they own less than 50% of the company, but still, they own a stake in this company. They are investing in it. Wave's founder and CEO Adam Arrigo said, quote, "The music industry has always had a difficult relationship with technology and disruption. I think it's historic when I see Warner making early investments in technology startups or signing partnerships that are as paramount as the one we just signed." The goal is to just further normalize virtual and live stream events so that they aren't just this short-term relic from the pandemic world. So what this means for people who are not economics nerds like myself is just that more of your favorite artists might be involved in virtual events in the future. Because it's not just Warner Music, other big music companies are probably debating similar partnerships and investing long-term in virtual shows, not as an alternative, but a supplement to going to events in person. So if your favorite artist is from Warner or Atlantic Records or any of the subsidiaries, this opportunity is now available to them. This company, Wave, is aptly titled because it is making waves. Top Dog Entertainment, Kendrick Lamar's company, has invested in Wave before, as well as the massive Chinese music company Tencent. Who Wave invests in is just as interesting to me as who invests in Wave. Wave has invested in Roblox, the company behind the super goofy, accidentally funny, frenetic, energy-filled virtual shows that Ava Max and Lil Nas X used to make their avatars perform concerts for them on the service. It was just really hectic and funny, fans standing on the heads of their avatars and stuff, jumping up and down in front of their faces. It was just chaotic and goofy and funny, and I could totally see those shows continuing because they're just so funny. So anyway, the main particulars are still under wraps about this partnership. But I would say if you want a little teaser about kind of projects this partnership will create, keep in mind those Roblox shows, and you might get an idea of where they're going with this. Lots of metaverse action here. I would love for aespa to get in on this somehow, because if they work with a big investor in Wave, Tencent, they could help promote them in China and allow them to have funny virtual concerts. Just throwing that out there. I would be remiss not to point out the fact that this partnership did not just come about because of the increased popularity right now of finding ways to merge digital and physical worlds, finding ways to make these trends outlast the era of social distancing and whatnot. It's also about who you know, and it's about connections. The Wave CEO, Stephen Cooper, was given early access to try for his very first time a demo of a virtual reality experience Wave was producing. And ever since that exclusive access was granted to Warner Music's CEO back in 2016, they've kept in touch. Last quick tech update. Weverse has a new partnership with F2F, aka Fan to Fan. F2F is launching a service called Fave in partnership with Weverse. This is a USA-based startup company that sounds like a cross between Weverse and Etsy. This is the future of fandom, that increasingly reciprocal relationship we've talked about at length on the show, as well as my other show, How to Stan, between idols and their fans. That feedback loop is more powerful than ever because idols know more than ever about what their fans want from them, and fans know more than ever about what their idols are like and what they want from them. So it's a really interesting and sensible decision to merge the platforms where they communicate together with where they show off their fan art and present what they've been imagining to each other. Switching gears now to talk about the next big story. A concert promoter in Florida has found a really interesting way to incentivize concert goers to be vaccinated. For seeing the Teenage Bottle Rockets in concert, he's charging $18 tickets if you're vaccinated and $999.99 for unvaccinated people. That's right, $18 versus $1,000 per ticket. Now, politicians in Florida argue this is not legal, but the promoter argues the legal situation is not relevant yet because this show is happening soon, and technically any laws that are going into effect to make it illegal to charge different fees based on vaccination status would not go into effect until later. This show is happening before any of those kinds of laws are set to go into effect. He got an extreme wave of backlash for this choice and tons of hate mail online, but he insists he is undeterred and this plan will go forward, regardless of how powerful the opposition is. As of recording time, nearly every $18 seat has been sold, and there have been zero takers for the $1,000 seats. My take on this, honestly, is it's a great idea, but he should have not made it that excessive. So maybe charge, I don't know, $20 more if you're unvaccinated, but up to $1,000. That was bound to get tons of blowback, negative media attention, even potential lawsuits. So I think there would have been a lot less fierce opposition if he had just maybe done this, but to a less extreme extent. Here's a sentence I thought I would never say in my lifetime. Let's move on to talking about the man who got stuck on a reality show for 3 months. Vladislav Ivanov was finally voted off of Produce Camp 2021, a Chinese reality show to be a member of a boy band. Ivanov goes by the stage name Lelouch, and Lelouch is a 27-year-old from Russia. He is super attractive and looks like he belongs in a boy band. But he was just there actually to translate for 2 of the Japanese contestants, to translate to Chinese for them. So he was working on the show as a translator when the producers mistook him for a contestant. And he basically ended up accidentally auditioning. He got thrust into an audition, did well, and was further encouraged even after they realized what happened to keep going. Then he basically wound up contractually obligated to keep going So he joined when he was one of 90 and made it all the way to the top 25. And keep in mind, 11 people win at the end of the day to form the final group. So he was very close. He was miserable. He wanted to go home, but he also couldn't really because of the pandemic and because of his contractual obligations, plus the financial situation he was in. There were a lot of reasons why he couldn't just up and leave. But then he spent 3 months living as one of the members, meaning he was sent to live on an island with the others on a dorm on an island, with the phones confiscated, with 24/7 cameras. It's kind of a Big Brother situation. So he really didn't like that. He didn't like the exhausting training. He always wanted to be a model, but not a singer or dancer. So he tried super hard every week to get voted off. He would skip practices and otherwise just act super rude, unprofessional, cold, presumably unlikable. He would sing off key. He performed this Russian rap called Jackpot. I watched it. It was not good. And so he was intentionally just flat with his vocal delivery. He was just the opposite of the full package here for a boy band member. The problem was, fans related to him so much. He was a mood meme waiting to happen. Fans really related to his I can't even attitude and kind of lived vicariously through him, because they wish they could get voted off any week and go home from their jobs. And so there's a much larger discussion here this ties into about overwork culture, which is quite prominent in a lot of countries, but in China it is also an issue. And so this sense of I don't feel like doing it to the fans was kind of just funny and bold of him to act so unprofessional. Despite him pleading with his fans to knock it off, they kept voting in blocks. They organized mass voting drives, basically. They even rented billboard space to promote him on the show and tell people to vote for him. He was popular beyond his wildest nightmares. As much as I do feel bad for his plight, I must admit I do find him accidentally really funny with his one-liners about his experiences there. His attitude is quite relatable. He has accidentally iconic quotes from his time on the show like, "Don't love me, you'll get no results. Please don't make me go to finals, I'm tired." And personally what I find the best line, and my personal favorite, "I hope the judges won't support me. While the others want to get an A, I want to get an F, as it stands for freedom." He also said, "According to the rules of the show, I won, but to me, I've lost again." He said that kind of stuff all the time on the show. After yet another attempt to beg his fans to knock it off and let him get voted off, the fans were like, alright, fine, called off their mass voting sprees, ended their billboard funding and all the extra attempts they made to keep his popularity up, and he was so relieved to finally be voted off. But on his way out the door, he couldn't hide, and he still can't. He was mobbed by fans at the airport going home, and he continues to have quite the passionate fan base who loved his time on the show. So it's not like he can pretend this never happened. So he's now back home in Russia, ready to pursue a modeling career. But this past will never escape him now, because he developed a fan base that is not going anywhere, and will probably beg him to return to the music scene at some point. But he does have the back of the Russian embassy, who reposted a post about his departure from the show and replied with, quote, "Congrats, have a good rest." What makes it extra interesting to me is, this is totally my speculation, but the guy who has come out publicly to debunk the rumor that this was all part of the show, that it was all staged, is an executive at Tencent, the company that owns this TV show. So I'm not sure how reliable of a source he is here. Again, just speculation, but it is interesting. Because the more I thought about it, the weirder it sounds to actually be mistaken for a contestant when you're not. Yes, he looks like a boy band member, but just saying, hey, I'm not a contestant could have cleared that up, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this was not a natural thing that happened, but it is interesting and makes for a great movie plot. This whole incident really did drive a lot of publicity to Tencent's show, especially when social media was abuzz every week over this guy, and a popular blogger started posting about him, which really took his pop culture awareness to new heights. It all just makes for a very intriguing story for sure. That sums up today's entertainment news stories. Stay tuned for a headline roundup and then tons of other episode themes coming your way soon. Thank you all for listening as always, and I will talk to you all very, very soon.